So another day, another sold. I mean, this is kind of
Modulating
getting
furnace.
scary. You're batting 1,000.
Yeah, I mean,
Is it you? Is it HVAC20? Is it a little of both?
it's a little of both. I think,
You would have sold this one anyway?
no, I'm not, I don't know. I don't know. But I know a lot of other people wouldn't have sold it.
Was this one easier?
It was easier.
It was easier because you're using the process, and it's easier because you're getting familiar with the process. Both of those things.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, here's what happened.
Okay.
So, called him, set up a time. We agreed to 60 minutes, right? Because I could tell he's getting quotes. And I said, because I don't want to be up on top of anybody else. And, I want to make sure I have the full 60 minutes. So we set it up for 1:30 because he said he had another guy coming beforehand.
Okay.
And I got there, I don't know, 1:20. And I saw the truck, the guy's other company's truck. So I laid back for a little bit and then went up there after he left. And invited me in, asked him, if where I parked is fine. He said, "Yep, that's good. No problem. Come on in." Said, "There's someplace nice we can sit down just for a couple minutes." And I said, "Tell me what's going on." He said, and he had filled out the comfort survey, by the way. So, and he had all zeros except for a 5 on the health.
Okay.
And so I said, "What brings me out?" And he said that his normal company came out and said that they couldn't fix the furnace, needs a new one. I said, "Okay, did they give you some specifications for me to bid to?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, normally they would give you like the sizing that you need for the for the um for the unit. He said, "Well, the outdoor unit's 2.5 tons." I said, "Well, what about the furnace? You know how many BTUs that is?" I said, "No." I said, "Did they tell you how many BTUs that you need?" "No." I said, huh. I mean, wonder why they didn't give you, they had to have known that you were getting quotes. I wonder why they wouldn't have given you a specification for other companies to bid to. He said, I'm not sure. Not sure. He said, I said, "Okay, well, if you don't mind, let's take a look at your comfort survey. I know you filled that out. If you got a minute, let's take a look and fill that out." He said, or let's see what you put. And he said, "Sure." And I said, "Now you had all zeros except for this 5 with the health. Tell me what you were thinking there." He said, "Well, my wife's got allergies, so we want to make sure we keep the air healthy for her." I said, "Okay. Any other comfort issues? You got all zeros here. Is any other comfort issue? Anything going on?" He said, "No, everything's working great." And he said, "I've got this Infinity system out there that they said the previous owner says like the top of the line, and but I don't know. I don't think I really need anything all that fancy." I said, "Okay, no problem."
Did he
Well,
have
you
a
might.
stat on the wall, or was it just a regular stat?
He had the communicating stat,
The old white one.
the old white one.
I love
Yep.
those.
Yeah. And I don't know how to work it, so I don't know how to check the static. So I went ahead and proceeded with the program.
Yeah.
I know you can check the static with those, but I don't know how to do that.
So
So
it's an
maybe I
old
need.
two-stage air conditioning.
Yeah, right, right. So I said, I showed him the video. I said, "Did you have a chance to look at the videos?" "No, I didn't look at that. Because I don't really need anything all that fancy. I don't need all these bells and whistles." So, "Okay, no problem." I said, "How about let's take a look at this duct pressure video. This is real important because this could affect, whether or not we need to do additional duct work. And if you want to get more quotes, you'll have all that information so that other
You'll be
companies
able
can
to
bid
get apples to apples bids with a
apples
specification.
specification." So, so I said, let's watch it. We watched the video. So now we charge $25 to check the static pressure. Unless your company had checked it for you and gave you some numbers. I mean, I don't know. Did they? No, they didn't look at anything like that, but I really don't need that because,
Oh, okay.
like I said, no problem.
How
You
old's
know,
the furnace?
14 years old.
Okay. Why does he think it failed?
He said that he didn't know. They said that it just would quit, start tripping. It would run for a little while, then cut off. Run for a little while, cut off.
So,
So what do you
so
think?
he's not worried that it's oversized to that ductwork at all.
No,
Geez, because that sounds like one of those issues that if the equipment's running and cutting off, it sounds like it's having trouble breathing.
right. No, he said,
You sold it, so I'm just messing. This is fun for me.
I hear you. I hear you. No, then he said, he didn't want to watch the video, the 6 functions video either.
Okay.
So,
But he
I said,
watched the 60-second duct pressure video.
He watched the 60-second video. So then I asked,
and he signed no.
I know.
Okay.
Right. No, so I'm putting you down for a no. Is that what you're telling me? No.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. So and
Like for like, and you own it.
right. And then he said, so what you're saying is if they put it in the furnace and the static pressure is high, I may have to do some additional duct work. I said, you might.
Yeah.
He's okay. And then so then he started to lead me around, wanting to show me where the stuff is. So I took a picture of the thermostat at that point. We went and took a picture of the breaker panel. And then he showed me the outdoor
got room
unit.
in the breaker?
Yes.
So if he wants to go heat pump later, he's good.
Right. We talked about heat pump a little bit at that time, but no, he doesn't want to do that. He just wants to replace the furnace just with, whatever
He'll wait till the outdoor unit quits.
Yeah, just whatever the baseline is. I don't really need anything fancy. I just need some warm air coming out of the vents.
That outdoor unit, I don't know how well that works if you don't put it on an infinity stat, but
right,
it's up to him.
Yes. Anyway. So then he says, so he shows it to me. I said, okay, well, I'll tell you what, let me just take a few measurements here. I'm gonna get some pictures and we can sit back down and look at the pictures together and you can see exactly what you have. And then you can pick out what you want. He said, okay, sounds fair enough. And so I looked at it. It's an enclosed crawl space, got a nice modulating furnace.
The old 3-stage, probably the MV
three stage
or the MV80.
Yeah, it was a 3-stage 60 furnace. And it took pictures of all that, took pictures of the duct work. I mean, it looked good. I mean, it was a good installation, whoever did it originally.
Media filter?
Media filter already had a media filter, actually had the perfect air cleaner.
Okay, those units actually came with a folded up box that you could use as a media filter. Like they came with, it was crappy. Everybody just threw it away and used something else because it took like 25 minutes to put the thing together.
Right. Well, this one had a cartridge in it, like what we sell now. But anyway, I'm not sure about those. I mean, I've sold a bunch of them, but you got to clean it. You got to clean it because there's nothing filtering it before it gets there. So I don't know. But anyway, so then anyway, we sat back down, downloaded the pictures to the computer or to the iPad, looked at the pictures together, explained to him what he had, that he had a modulating furnace. And I said, it takes some special training. You actually have to go through take some courses before they'll even give you pricing on this equipment to sell it, much less to service it. You got to do a lot of training. So, there's a good possibility that this furnace could be fixed. Did they give you a quote on repairing it? He said, no, they just said it just needs to be replaced. So, okay. Did they say what was wrong with it? No, they couldn't really figure it out. They just said it was. So I wonder if they knew how to fix it. Sound like they didn't really actually know what was wrong with it. He said, well, do you think I should get one of the technicians out to quote or do it like a diagnostic on it to see what's wrong with it, and what would that
Beautiful
cost?
piece of equipment, you're happy with it. What the heck?
It says $79. Be glad to have one of our technicians come out and take a look at it and get you a quote. You know, it might be something fairly simple, or it could be something that costs, you know, a couple of grand. I have no idea. Be glad to arrange that for you. And I said, you know, and he said, how long do you think that would last if I fixed it? I said, I don't know. How long do you think it might last? What do you think? Do you think anything else could go wrong with it?
In the house, right?
I said, you think it, you know, it could be something. I've seen customers fix these things before, then a few weeks later, something else goes. You just don't know. You just don't know.
If you're going to stay in the house 2 years, you can fix it and keep your fingers crossed. If you're going to stay here 20 years.
So then I said,
you're going to have to replace it at some point if you're going to stay.
So I know you said you want just the cheapest thing, but it's real. This is really if you're going to be here for a while, this is a 15 to 20 year investment.
Yeah.
Take 4 minutes and watch this video with me. And you can still tell me no, that you want the cheapest, but you need to understand exactly what your options are and then tell me no. And so we watched the video. I pulled out my sheet. I said, now, and then I also had pulled up or printed off one of the smiley faces that we were working on.
Okay.
And I said, now yours is right here. It has all these smiley faces. This is what you have right now. You already told me you don't have any comfort issues, that the air mix is really good. It apparently you have good load matching. I said, apparently it's dehumidifying decent because you don't have any humidity issues. I mean, you don't have a humidifier and you don't have fresh air, but you do have a good filtration system as well. Now, if you put in the cheap stuff, the cheap furnace,
things are going to change around here.
Yep. You're going to find yourself who's going to be over here where these sad faces are. So you're going backwards. You've got the best system on the market at the time. It's made some improvements since then. And when the air conditioning needs to be replaced, you can get it upgraded to the best if you want to. And I mean, truthfully, sir, if you put in that cheap furnace, not only you're not going to be happy with it, but you're going to be turning this $1 million home into a double wide.
Oh, you pulled that one out? What kind of car does he drive? You don't know.
He had a Lexus. It was a Lexus in the garage, yeah. So anyway, so what would you like to do? Well, just quote the modulating, the same one. So I quoted that for him, and then it was like $10,000 and something. And I said, how are you planning on paying for it whether it's with me or some other company? Were you going to write a check? You need financing. We would just write a check and say, okay, let me give you a little discount for not using the financing. So we got the price just below $10,000. And he said, can you email that to me? I was like, sure, I can email it to you. And he said, then he was just kind of going back and forth about whether or not he should do the repair. And then he just said, you know what, I'm just going to get this. Let's just go ahead and get it on the schedule.
Nice.
And so while I'm trying to finish up the paperwork, he's calling another company he had coming over right after me to cancel. Yeah. So that was that. So the other company that had come out had quoted Bosch and Rheem.
Okay.
And I said, the Bosch
air
is,
handler.
I
Okay.
don't know. They're a Bosch dealer. They were
Bosch
talking Bosch.
furnace. Okay.
I don't, yeah, I don't know.
It's probably rebranded something.
So I don't know if they're talking about putting in the heat pump or what. I said, we've done a lot of those crossovers, but they don't do a very good job of dehumidifying the house. I don't think you're going to be happy with that. And I said, Carrier's got one, but I
Gary's
don't think
got the
you'd be
best.
happy.
You could get reheat dehumidification. You want to really lean in today?
Right. Well, I didn't go that route,
Okay.
but maybe I should. But that was that. And then I said, we can install it tomorrow. That's quick enough. Oh, that'll be great.
Wow.
Anyway, so it's on the schedule for tomorrow. We ordered
And
it.
this
I ordered
house you
that
said
up
had
and
3 furnaces,
had 3 furnaces. Yeah.
so they're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So you didn't ask him about electrification.
Did not go down the path left. Well, I did ask him. I asked him about, we talked about the heat pump in the
Okay.
beginning, and he just didn't, he wasn't interested in that.
Okay. Okay.
So I just backed off a little bit with that. So I kind of
As
worked
long
this
as you
in.
bring it up,
Right.
I really would hope that you would bring it up at every house, because so the story behind my house is my buddy and I worked on redoing my attic, and we end up putting in a Unico, and we're trying to decide what equipment we're going to run to it. And I got a coil from the boiler in the basement, and he says, so trying to figure out what outdoor unit to put on this, and would you like to try a heat pump? And I'm like, this was 1999, right? Well, I'm going to be heating with a boiler. Why would I want to do that? I don't know. It's one of the options that you have here that you could do. And
Right.
I had all kinds of different decisions I was making on getting the place all spray foamed and all the rest of this crap, and putting an ERV in, actually. So yeah, I know about ERVs. Don't get them. Anyway, so I always remember that, because I'm kind of regretful I didn't get a heat pump, and I don't blame him. Brought it up.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to have that conversation. You brought it up, had the opportunity to have the conversation. You don't even have to you don't have to do a reverse even. You just bring it up. And Mike only brought it up once, and I remember.
Right.
He didn't push. I would lean in, because I would always have it on the far end of the report. This is
Right.
this is the whole Monty that I would have liked to have a conversation with you about if you had shown interest. But when I asked you about the heat pump, you said you weren't interested. This is what I would have been talking to you about. And that way, if there's any question down the road, you bring up the report and you say, I always talk to people about a heat pump. I always bring it up. And usually they poo-poo me and shut me down.
Yeah, I guess I need some pictures of, that's a good way for me to bring it up. If I can find somebody that can share some good pictures.
Oh, I got a ton of, they're great pictures, because they're on stilts where I live. So that's how you tell the difference between a heat pump and an air conditioner, is all the heat pumps are on stilts.
Right. Makes sense.
Sorry. So keep going with the rest of your story. Your stories are so awesome.
Yes, that was I might would have tried to sell him what he wanted before, but this time I backed it out.
You would have actually had a conversation with him about crappy equipment.
Yeah, I would have potentially just let him buy what he wanted, which I still did, but this time I explained it to him differently. I explained him what he'd be giving up,
right,
if he went that way. And I'm fine with either one. We're here to earn your business, whatever and we sell all these. We can get you whatever you want. And he liked the fact we were a carrier / Bryant dealer. We had the experience to service his other equipment.
The other stuff's all carrier too?
It's all carrier, all Infinity.
Were they air conditioners or heat pumps, or you're not sure?
They're air conditioners. So, I've switched over to a hybrid eventually.
Okay.
So, he had an option of even not to put in a new thermostat, and he wanted the new thermostat. So, yeah.
Can you run the new equipment on the old thermostat?
You can run, yes. Cool. I don't know if you can run the furnace or not, but I know I've been told you can, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Just try and save that old thermostat. Man, people probably need them and can't. Although I think you can run the old furnaces on the new thermostat. So it really only works for the old furnaces.
Right. So I'm not sure. That's a good question for the guys. I don't know if it would have worked with the white thermostat, the new furnace.
Mm-hmm.
We might have turned it into a single stage.
Yeah, that new thermostat's Wi-Fi enabled. You used to have to get some kind of a Wi-Fi system connector, and it was terrible. And their internet connection was horrible. The user interface was so. Web development's hard, and carrier's not good at it either.
Right.
And I'm much more sympathetic to that plight right now than I ever was before. I was like, what are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
They charge something like $400 at the time for an internet connection thing. It was this big white box with a Wi-Fi antenna coming out of it, and it didn't work. But I mean,
that would probably be a good one for the for the company to keep to troubleshoot. I mean, for training.
Yeah.
Be curious what's even wrong with it.
Well, with that unit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull the whole thing and take it back to the shop. They're gonna anyway. Be a little careful with it.
Right. I'll mention that to them because that would be a good one for training. I mean, I'd like to know how to work the thermostats so I could look at the static pressure from the stat. I don't know. Could you do it from that old white one?
Reasons I sold those. Well, they're 3-stage, so those things you could sell a 60 and it would go down to 20.
Right.
And that's where you were able to get a lot of people comfortable if you could deliver 20,000 BTU to the house.
Right.
So
yeah,
they had Goodman had a 4570 or something like that. Maybe 45 is still a lot of BTU. So most of the time that's going to satisfy a house, whereas a 20 would just run forever, and it would cycle between 20, 40, and 60. 20, 40, 60, 20, 40, 60.
Yeah. That's what they need. Less
okay,
BTU.
so what's your recap on the HVAC20 report in this situation? Did that help? Smiley faces helped.
The smiley faces helped.
You didn't really need to customize for them. You could probably just put all the smiley faces on one sheet and sell from that, couldn't you?
Well, I mean, I think it was helpful that he went through the comfort survey, so he realized he didn't have any comfort issues.
Right.
Okay. And
are you going to do fresh air for him?
He wasn't interested in that.
Okay. Big old leaky house with 3 furnaces. Who cares?
Yeah.
What, like 2 people in 4,000 square feet or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, so I showed him, this is your comfort level. I mean, you got zeros. Nobody has zeros.
Right.
So in your equipment, what you've been used to, the reason you have zeros is because
You got
I don't
really great
know.
equipment.
Yeah. So this is what you're giving up. And so
What was the size?
it would he had it was a 2.5 ton air conditioner and 60,000 BTU is what he had. That's what we put back in. That's what
Okay, so the outdoor unit is not infinity. It's a single stage.
it is. Infinity. I believe.
3
You don't
ton.
think it is? Well, they made it 2.5 ton. They used to make half sizes. That's what I've been
Not
told.
on the 2 stage.
Maybe it's a single stage. Maybe it's preferred. See if I got the model number here to send you.
So yeah, that's fine. I mean, it sounds like it's 2008, so that's right my era.
Oh yeah, it's not on this phone. I'll send it to you later. I think it was
That album I just sent you, the first picture I think is the one I sold my mother in 2008.
okay. See it.
So any other suggestions for improvements?
They oops. Um I think we need the picture presentation after the after you do the measurements. You need to show the pictures of what they have so
Oh,
they understand,
okay.
so they can start visualizing it.
Take
And then
pictures of the equipment in the basement because people, or in the attic or a crawl space or wherever it is, because people may never have seen their equipment.
right.
So
So
you show it to them.
I've sold a lot of equipment by just showing it to them. Nobody's ever showed this to me before.
Nobody ever showed me this. I didn't know. Oh yeah, it's looking rusty. Okay. And like today's guys, well, after 15 years, that's pretty well fully depreciated. It doesn't owe you anything, but sometimes you can get 20 or 25.
Hmm.
So that's up to you.
Hmm.
It's like
That's a good way to put it.
It starts taking a fair amount of repairs.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, the picture presentation. Then, as you're looking at the picture presentation, have the sheet printed off that shows the 6 functions.
Right there.
And
You would have
right,
it just right there in their face the whole time, 6
right,
functions, right?
right there. I
And the
love to show.
smiley faces maybe of the standard. Like,
I love to show that the units set up the same way it was when it was bought. Whoever put it in never changed the blower speeds. I love to show all the dust and dirt inside the blower compartment and all over the control board. Things like that, showing filter failure,
can you see
showing yeah.
that was my old dog. She was awesome. Her name was Hunter.
Hmm.
She used to go on sales with me.
That's exactly what it looks like, but it's not a heat pump. It was definitely a air conditioner.
Well, they might have had a single stage Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, I convinced to put residential into his business. He had 2 people. He had people there telling him he needed 2 rooftops, one a 16 ton and the other an 8 ton, and these are both I haven't looked at these pictures in a long time. That's a 1982 heat pump. Fairport has really cheap electric, so people out there have.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of the 1980s Bryant heat pumps this year, air handlers, and I mean, just been going strong. I think it was still working. They just decided they wanted something new.
I only sold heat pumps. I only sold hybrids or heat pumps.
Right.
It just didn't make sense to me. I would tell them, well, I'm sorry, I can't sell you an air conditioner. It's against my religion. Um,
Part of the issue in our market is the electrical would be a bear to get heat strips to it.
yeah.
And it would add a day to
that
the
ends
job.
up being a barrier for a lot of people having to run the electrical and sometimes upgrade the panel.
Right.
So just got to let them know.
Right.
You don't want to look at that panel, say, oh, they'd have to upgrade the panel and then not tell them. Well, you should ask me.
Right.
I mean, if they say yes, fine, right?
Right. Now I've sold, again, a lot of those crossovers where there used to be heat furnaces. So I mean again.
So
I
I'm
won't do
thinking
that.
you could probably get away with this, something like
Right.
that, because you got the 6 functions and you got the basic, better, best smiley faces.
Right. Yeah, and the interview questions, I like to some of that upfront contract we were talking about where, hey, we discussed 60 minutes on the phone. Are we still okay with that time? Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then say, hey, if after I take a look at this, spend a little bit of time with you, and I determine that we're not a good fit for you, is it okay if I tell you that's the case? Oh yeah. Well, and also, I expect you to do the same. Feel free, to tell me. It's okay to tell me that you don't think we're going to be a good fit if you come to that conclusion.
Yeah, pressure valve releases.
And
take that pressure off right up front, and then they can be less focused. Anything that'll take the focus off of you and let them really think about all of the things that whatever they're thinking about.
So it's hard to say exactly what sold it today, but I think
so. It was helpful, but it wasn't the predominant factor.
well, right. Well, I mean, nobody else sent them a comfort survey.
Right.
Nobody else showed him any videos.
Okay.
Nobody else showed him any smiley faces.
Right.
So, and I'm sure everybody else comes across as salesy.
Right. And you absolutely got to change this old piece of crap equipment because it's dead. See, it's dead. It's not working. Whereas you were like, they didn't tell you what it needs to be repaired, what's broken.
They didn't give you an option. It's
Was
normally,
that
well,
his service company?
yes.
So his service company didn't tell him what he needed to do. Did he pay them?
I guess so. Yeah. He said they couldn't, he basically said they couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. They just need a new one.
Okay.
The heat would come on for a little while, then shut off. So I'm thinking,
Don't use the name, but do you know the competitor?
I do.
Okay. Do they
They're
have unqualified service people?
they're they're one of those companies that try to be a little bit of everything. They do plumbing, hot water, tankless water heaters. They're new construction. They do a lot of new construction work, and
They might be spread a little thin
they want to do
as far as
retrofits.
capabilities. Okay.
Our buddy Tripp used to work for them.
Ah. Well, so we got a 8:30 tonight.
8:30.
Thank you for this video. I'll post it.
Yeah.
And congratulations. I mean,
Yeah.
you're
So,
great. That's nice, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. So we'll keep trying to figure it out. So I'm gonna go spend some time with family. We'll catch up at 8:30.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Talk to you
brother.
later.
See ya.
Thank you.